back to the Onebar and Lupagus show. I'm Lupagus here with Onebar, and it is the day our new head coach has been officially introduced, and he has had his first press conference with the Vikings media. He is here. He is in town. He's in Minnesota, and we're going to talk about it.
The 10th coach is officially here in Minnesota Vikings franchise history. And I got to be honest, watching this press conference, my parts started to move a little bit. Tough not to get excited about this press conference. Tough not to get excited about the future.
It was better than any stepmom I've ever seen stuck in a window, under a table, in the dryer, in the laundry mat, whatever. I mean, it's beat all of those. It's the best material you can get.
I once saw stepmom stuck under Lego.
Really?
Absolutely. They can get stuck under anything.
Yeah, we should start something about helping stepmoms out. Before we hop into Kevin O'Connell's press conference, let's just remember to subscribe to the channel, like the vids. We are closed in on 6K subscribers. And I can't wait till we get there. I'm so damn excited. I'm almost excited about 6K subscribers than about Kevin O'Connell and his future with his team.
Yep. Hit up button right there. Bing, 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 bing. Let's do this. Kevin O'Connell, where to start? I'll let you go.
Well, I think where we got started just with, Kwesi introduces this guy and he's just heaping praise on him, talking how great he is, all this stuff. But the one thing I really thought stood out was he said an hour into interview 2, he knew this was his guy. He said there was this connection, this energy. Their philosophy was the same, and he knew. I mean, that's huge to me. The first hour of the second interview, he realized this is the guy who should be coaching this team.
Yeah, watching this whole thing, you can tell that Kwesi and Kevin O'Connell are like chunky peanut butter and grape jelly. They were meant to work together. They are. They have a shared connection. Yeah. They are ready to roll.
Is grape your go-to jelly, really?
Yeah, Smuckers.
Oh, man, I'm more of a strawberry or more of a jam guy, actually.
Well, I'll take any sort of jelly, but you can tell they love each other. They can tell they are on the same page 100%.
And that's the second part of this was after Kwesi was heaping the love. Now, O'Connell reciprocated it. He came back and just said how excited he was to hear Kwesi was to be a GM, how he was excited to work for him, work with him. And that's what they kept talking about, like this connection, this collaboration. To me, that's huge. That they're really, truly communication, collaboration. That was the theme of them talking about each other. And that's something that definitely fell apart between Zimmer and Spielman.
Yeah, and we'll be talking a lot more about that. But Kwesi as well. I mean, just watching him talk up Kevin O'Connell. If you guys, if we were single guys, I mean, I can't think of a better wingman than Kwesi out at the bar with him. Like, he would convince anybody to go home with Lupagus. Anybody.
Hey, I was your wingman for plenty of years. We used to talk about finding prey, and I think I did pretty good.
He did all right, but Kwesi would have done better. Both these guys, they are talkers. Once their career is over, they'll be a hell of a salesman.
Well, let's talk about that. I want to talk about Kevin O'Connell, just his demeanor, his the way he addressed the media, and obviously it's his first one. He's going to be overly kind. He's going to be very friendly, but there's something about this guy. I mean, he's like a 180 from Zimmer. Zimmer's kind of quiet. Talks in like this really whispered voice, kind of gravelly. This guy's very well spoken. He's kind of keeping things light, and he's also some of the stuff he was revealing. I was kind of surprised. It was almost like back with Mike Tice when he would come on a press conference and basically tell you the game plan going into the game on a Wednesday. There was a little bit of that to him as well. So much more open than I think we've seen the last couple of years.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to see any drama with him. I don't think we're going to see any drama in press conferences. I don't think we're going to see the crabby ass old man. I mean, granted, yes, this is his first press conference. He's going to want to come off as a very likable guy, and he did. But something about him, I think this is just really who this guy is.
Yeah, that's what I was getting to. And we're going to obviously talk about some more specifics he talked about with the defense, offense here in a little bit. But a few more things I do want to touch on. I like the fact he acknowledged the players, the former players in attendance. There was John Randall, Scott Stubble was there. I can't remember who else was there, but he actually wanted Scott Stubble to take
Randall
part
McDaniel
in the tackling circuits. But what he said, I thought was huge. He talked about, where do I have it? Connecting current and former parts of this team. So building that culture, like bringing new guys, like look who's been here before, be part of this whole. So he's bringing in the past to mesh with the future. And to me, that was a huge positive and something I thought was really, really smart for him to do.
Yeah, maybe he'll bring back Bryant McKinney and Fred Smoot taking a boat ride.
I think why wasn't Byron the Siren invited?
Yeah, no, that was good to see. It was interesting where when he was talking to Studwell, he said, I know you haven't been around in the last couple of years because of something. So yeah. Must have been some sort of falling out there.
Yeah.
Just gross, just piling on the grossness of what was happening. So yes, it was very good to see him acknowledge them.
Yeah. He talked about some of his values, like his consistency, to be as consistent as possible. He talked about relentless passion to teach and to motivate. And he said he wanted to set a culture that players want to be around. He specifically mentioned the coaches with that. So this is going to be a complete 180 from these players, what they experienced with Mike Zimmer, who ruled with fear, to a guy who I think more wants to kind of be your coach, but also kind of be a friend and be a mentor and a teacher.
Yes, but he's also coming into a situation where he can look like the hero very easily with some key things that he's saying as far as team, being open, blah, blah, blah. I mean, I love that he said it, but he's also coming in probably best case scenario of any coach. Just he can say the right things and we're gonna get excited.
Well, but at the same time, I don't feel like it was a load of bullshit. I don't think he,
I agree.
I think he's honest. I think this is who he is. And I truly got that, you know, I got a pretty good BS sense on me, but I didn't get any of that from this guy. I don't think he's fake one bit.
No, he, just like Kwesi's intro press conference, nailed it. I mean, it's not like this happens every damn time. We've seen, I mean, look at Ryan Pace with the Bear, or not Ryan Pace. What's his nuts? Poles.
Mm-hmm.
Ryan Poles with the Bears. That was not great.
That was brutes.
We're 2 for 2. They nailed him.
It doesn't mean Ryan Poles be a horrible GM, but yeah, that was tough to watch. He was reading off a card. We're gonna win the North.
Hello, this is the Chicago Bears. No, we did well. We'll see if they can back it up what they put on the field. But let's get into some details and some things he said, because he said some very good things. And let's start off with the obvious one, Kirk Cousins. Yeah. It was damn near a Kirk Cousins love fest. They've said they're going to build around. They're going to put systems in place. Not what I liked about what he said is when he talked about Kirk Cousins, it didn't take long for him to bring up the other quarterbacks. He said, we're going to set up Kirk Cousins and the other quarterbacks to succeed. Zimmer wouldn't bring up another quarterback if you paid him.
Yeah, talking about Kirk Cousins, he said, he knows what Kirk Cousins is capable of. He wants to help Kirk on a daily basis, connect with his team, and put him in the best possible position to succeed. And he also, this is something he said about Kirk Cousins. He said it about the entire offense, a quieted mind, which to me makes a lot of sense. Like, you're not overthinking things. You're kind of just playing the game of football, seeing what you see, reacting, reading. Quieted mind. I really like that phrase that he used, and he used it more than once in his press conference. But Kirk Cousins, then he was also asked later if he expects Kirk Cousins to be the quarterback moving forward. He said he's under contract. He's anticipating him being the quarterback. But then there's this point there, and then I know it was a question that was directed at him and then Kwesi. And he looks at Kwesi after he's done talking. Kwesi, I don't know if he was zoning out, whatever it was. He kind of woke up, and he's like, what did he say? He's just kind of like, oh yeah, he's going to be here. We want him to succeed or whatever. And he was excited to work with Kirk Cousins. But that little hesitation on Kwesi's part made me think that maybe they are looking at some trade options with Kirk Cousins.
Well, and the other thing is they said the right things about Kirk Cousins. They talked him up, but they also kept using the word anticipate. They didn't say 100% this guy is our guy. They didn't just say he is our guy, no doubt about it. They just said, we like Kirk Cousins. We anticipate him being. So while they talked them up, they didn't really just solidify it. So gray area.
Yeah, it's like I anticipate you being the host of the show with me for many years.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. That means the world to me. So Kirk Cousins, they said the right things. I am not buying into the fact that he is 100% our quarterback for next year, especially like when you say he's under contract. Jesus, that's about as dry as you can get. But let's talk more offense. He did confirm 100% that he will be calling the offensive plays, which we all pretty much figured.
He'll be calling plays. He said he's been, he was a quarterback. He's learned under McVay. He's been groomed to do this. Now it's his chance. He's going to do it. And he also said that the system is going to be a lot like what they had in LA. So, if I'm Justin Jefferson, boing, because I'm going to be used in so many different ways.
Justin Jefferson, boing. How about freaking boom?
He's going to finish?
Give him some respect.
Yeah, he'll finish everywhere. I'm so excited to see what he will do with this guy. And I love the fact that it's going to be like LA's offense, an offense that is aggressive, that's innovative, that's creative, that, you use Justin Jefferson not just as a primary target, but as a weapon to make other guys get open. And that to me is very, very exciting. You look at what he's got to work with as a running back. I mean, he hasn't had a Delvin Cook in Los Angeles. So having a guy like Delvin Cook, that's going to be huge for him too. So I'm excited to see what he does with Delvin.
Yeah, you bring up Dalvin Cook. He mentioned some guys by name in this press conference. He didn't mention Dalvin Cook by name, I don't think. I mean, they talked about the running game. And yeah, there's some other guys he didn't mention, but I thought that was a little weird. I'm not going to think too much into it. But one thing he did say multiple times talking about this offense, he used the word attack and aggressive. Yeah. He used those two words more than once. And that was the best part about it. Like you said, he said they're going to bring a lot of that Rams offense over and attack and be overly aggressive. Hot shit. That is night and day compared to what we've seen.
Yeah, I mean, last year it was you get 7 points and you tuck and you run it 3 times and you punt. I mean, it was like an offense that had no idea how bad its defense was, and I think it's gonna be, so like you said, it's gonna be night and day. It's gonna be complete 180 from what we saw last year.
Yeah, they're gonna be aggressive, and sometimes it's not gonna pan out, but sometimes it's gonna be fantastic. And he said when can't remember who asked about the running game, but he basically said it depends on who we're playing. I mean, it's gonna balance it out. If we're playing somebody that it's shit against the run, they're going to attack the ball. So I love that as well.
Yeah,
it's not the same old week in, week out. We're going to see the exact same thing. He's going to adjust to what team we're playing.
Yes, I love that too. I was gonna save that for later, but since you brought it up, he said you got to attack every team differently. It's not the same week to week. And I felt like with Mike Zimmer, it always was the same. We put the same product out every time. I go back to the Mike Tice era. He was one where I really thought he adjusted well to the teams that were playing. If they had a cornerback that was injured, we saw us target that injured cornerback like 15 times a game. And I feel like we got away from that with the Zimmer era. He's, his defense could work against anybody. And I love getting back to that. Like looking at who you're playing, adjusting to who you're playing. That to me was huge. That was one of the biggest takeaways from this entire press conference for me.
Yeah, and one thing more so on just the overall, not so much on the offense or defense, but somebody asked at the end as far as, what coming into this, there were some issues with connection, blah, blah, blah. And he basically said, I'm not thinking about the past. I'm looking to the future. It's all about collaboration. Good things will happen. And very smart answer, by the way. Didn't throw Zimmer on the bus, but he basically said that shit is over.
Yeah, it's the culture change is gonna be so huge, and I think it's gonna be a place where players are gonna want to come to. They're gonna want to play. They're gonna play for this guy, and they're gonna do everything they can to make this guy succeed.
He said the Rams culture was built on players and coaches being connected.
Oh God, I just finished.
All right, let's talk defense.
Yeah, to me the biggest thing was what he said about Harrison Smith. I mean, he said he just jumped on Harrison Smith. He said he's the perfect player for the defensive structure we want to play. We want to make changes. All coverages look the same. He said Harrison Smith will be a problem like he's always been for offenses. But the fact that he really just wanted to go out and mention Harrison Smith. You look at Harrison Smith, his contract, his age, Kirk Cousins. I mean, he's keeping all these guys who are expensive. I mean, he wants these guys here who are going to cost some money, but he's excited about Harrison Smith.
Yeah, I think the Harrison Smith, I think that was a lot better than his Kirk Cousins endorsement. Harrison Smith, he went out of his way to mention him. He didn't get a question about Harrison Smith. He mentioned him. So that is very good news. Also, he confirmed they're going to do a 3-4. He gave Ed Donatel a ton of love, more so again on his culture, on his ability to actually teach this new defense. Love that. The one thing that stuck out about me was Anthony Barr. He mentioned Anthony Barr by name. Again, nobody mentioned Anthony Barr. He brought him up, and this is a free agent. So maybe the Anthony Barr, maybe we pump the brakes on him going somewhere else. And Anthony Barr, if you're him, he wants to finish his career in Minnesota. Going to a 3-4, he's going to go out with a bang. Maybe he's back.
Yeah, it's crazy. And, he mentioned players at all levels of this defense. He kept talking with the players here. And obviously you're not going to throw players on the bus, but he made that comment over and over again about who's here, players that can succeed, players that can do well, players on defense there's quality players in every level. Yeah, maybe there's not going to be as much of a turnover as especially you thought, because you're really wanting to.
I still think there's going to be turnover.
Yeah, but I mean, there might be more players here than you think, than you anticipated.
Well, I still definitely think on the offensive side of the ball, there's going to be a lot of turnover. I would love Anthony Barr back in a 3-4. I've always wanted to see him in a 3-4. It all comes down to the price. One guy he didn't mention, he mentioned Harrison Smith. He mentioned Eric Kendricks, and then he just talked defensive line. How do you not mention Danielle Hunter?
Well, And someone's got to be that guy they're going to save money with. I mean, it's going to be Kirk Cousins. It's going to be Harris Smith. It's going to be Daniel Hunter. It's got to be somebody. Someone has to be the guy who's going to be the way they save some money and be able to sign some other players. And maybe it is Daniel Hunter. Maybe they realize that, hey, this is the guy we'll get the most value for. We'll get the most trade value for. And we can save some money here if we let this guy go. I hate to see it happen. I love Daniel Hunter. I think he'll succeed in 3-4. I think you put him in any defense and he'll do well. Someone's got to be that guy. Maybe it's Hunter.
Maybe it is. We'll see. I thought that was a little odd. He didn't mention him, but again, I'm not going to think too much into it. The other thing on defense is what he said, what got my parts a moving was forcing turnovers.
Yeah.
Turnovers. He mentioned it multiple times as far as being aggressive on defense and forcing turnovers. So that was lovely as well. Attacking.
And yeah, I mean, that's how you win games. You win the turnover battle. If you're going against a better opponent, if you win the turnover battle, you're going to win that game 9 times out of 10. And I love what he said about Tough Borland.
Yeah, well, unfortunately, he didn't say anything about Tough Borland, but I think he will. I think when his first practice, he's going to be like, holy shit, who is that guy? Is that Tough Borland?
I don't
fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he might. But I mean, you look at this thing from top to bottom. I mean, really, this guy came in, knocked it out of the park. He just got a way about him and his energy, his passion, his knowledge, and the way I love the connection between him and Kwesi, the fact that they're so willing to work together, this collaboration. And I think this culture of where I just feel like it's going to be a place where players are going to want to play. And I'm excited for the future. And this, I mean, obviously we probably say this about any coach, but truly I feel like this is a change that's needed and a change that could really propel the Vikings forward.
Yeah, and just to finish it off, one of the big things somebody asked, basically, are you guys going to compete? He didn't ask if we were in rebuild mode, but he pretty much asked it, and old KOC pretty much shot that down immediately. He said, nope, he likes where this team is at. Great leadership on this team, and he thinks they can compete day one. Is he going to say something else? Absolutely not. But it was a good answer.
You're not going to say, yeah, we're going to tank it for draft picks.
I mean, he could have at least said, hey, look, we got a little bit of ways to go. We got some stuff to build, but he shot that down immediately. Loves this team. And while I still think there's going to be a lot of turnover, this guy definitely has winning coming out of his ass and his piss hole.
I'm going to be thinking about his cheekbones when I close my eyes tonight.
They were nice. Overall, 10 out of 10.
Yeah, I don't know how else to grade anything else. I mean, this guy, you got Kwesi coming in, nailing his press conference, and you got Kevin O'Connell coming in, nailing his as well. I'm excited for the future of this team. I don't know if it could be in any better hands than it is right now. So 10 out of 10 for me too. Let us know in the comments what you guys think. What would you grade this press conference, and how excited are you for the Kevin O'Connell, Kwesi, Adolfo-Mensah era to get going?
Yes, and hit that subscribe button. Let's get the 6K, baby.
I think they say smash it.
Smash that button.
Isn't that what they say? And also remember this. Portland, Oregon has more strip clubs per capita than any other city in the United States. We're going live from Portland next week.
Live from Portland.